I'm so much excited today to dwell on your 60 years of service for the cause of the Naga people. This is a privilege which I do not deserve, but thank God, and I thank the moderators and the program committee for allowing me to brief on the 60 years care of our most venerated leader and also our auto-kilancer, TH Muivah. I saw him as a child, as a small boy in 1962 when he was doing his MA at Guwahati. Then after completing his MA in 1963, he came back to my village again because my village was frequented by Uncle Suisa and joined by my uncle, maternal uncle, Mr. Ramyo Zimik. They used to catch up at my village and they used to discuss every issues, great and small. 1963, those days, there were hardly any postgraduate among the Naga community. At that time, our Honorable auto-kilancer, he was looked upon by the people with some sort of uncommon respect and love. He spoke once in my church, village church. He was talking about a kingdom divided cannot stand. And therefore he was trying to impress upon the villagers to remain united, not to behave and do anything as one wishes. Because the nation was going through a very critical period. That was my first experience of hearing him speaking from the church pulpit. Then in 1964, I heard that he had joined the Naga National Council. Yes, Abakar, as David was chosen out of the 8 brothers and out of the entire Israel nation to be the second king, because the first king was rejected by God himself because of his disobedience. As Jeremiah was called out from among many people as a child prophet, he confessed honestly that how could he be a prophet to the nations? But God said, before I formed you in the womb of your mother, I had foreknown you. And I have set you aside to be the prophet. So also, out of many Naga people, let us say millions of Naga people, you have been chosen and anointed. Had he not chosen you as a special person of his, he would not have protected you, he would not have preserved you, he would not have sustained you in such a extraordinary manner. Being a chosen person, God has never failed you for the sake of the Naga people and for the sake of his own glory. These 60 years of service, without even a day of break. Many people may claim that they have served the nation for more than 60 years, 70 years. But they had many years of break, many period of breaks in between. So that cannot be counted as the rightful claim. But you have every right to claim you have successfully completed 60 years of service. Because we are here today in 2024 on this 23rd March. We are celebrating with you because of you. We are taking this bride. We are able to share your blessing. Thank you. May God bless you more and continue to bless you. He has, being a chosen man, being an anointed man, he has given you the strength, physical as well as mental strength. He has also given you knowledge and wisdom. And because of your account, nation has come and reached thus far. In 1965, our Honorable Atem was elected as the second General Secretary of the NNC at Viswama in the month of January. And since then, he has been serving as the General Secretary as well as the Atem till 1978, August 30, when there was a military coup on account of the opposition to Shillong Accord, led by you, some of the misguided officers from among the Naga army acted at the behest of the Shillong Accord signatories, and you were detained for more than 1 year and almost 6 months. When you were released on 24th January 1980. God has been so faithfully protecting you, and he has been helping you to succeed in every of adventures that you had gone out being commissioned by the NNC federal government of Nagaland. I saw General Secretary TH Muivah as a young chap going to Naimu, where there was a heavy fighting between the Indian army and the Naga army. People were shouting at him, how can a general secretary go to the battlefield? This is impossible. But he said, no, I will go. I will die with the Naga army soldiers. He helped them. He had inspired and encouraged, strengthened the spirit of the Naga army soldiers. He was called back to Kohima, perhaps, because if he remained there in Ukhrul area, in Tanghul area, he would be going to join the battlefields with the Naga soldiers, because there was heavy fighting everywhere. Nambashi, at a place between my village and also Ukhrul, called Pausaitrung, where there was a heavy fighting, where the Indian government had suffered maximum casualties. So he was called back to Kohima and he was sent out to go to China. Yes, our this Excellency Kedalo has mentioned about his arrival at his village, as well as what is that village? Tutok Chingniu. I had gone to that very place in 1982 to see where there was the 9th Brigade of the Naga Army. From there, he had gone, the party had gone to Chenvatnu. I'm told they were held up there for about several months. Then they crossed the border. This was an adventure, risking entire lives of the Naga Army soldiers. We have heard about General Tosoi's group, which suffered maximum casualties in the hands of our own people, who were then completely headhunters. Even the most one of the most respected leaders, Mr. Jonathan, who was then the Kia secretary, was killed by the Kayo villagers, Kamka villagers. People, the Konyak called it Kamka, but the Burmese call it Kayo. And that Kayo villagers, they could be tamed only in 1976, when they refused to come and make an understanding with us. They resisted and they said, kun tangola se, naka tangola, kayo tangola. That way, they fought with us and the village was completely destroyed. For at least 1 year, they were not allowed to build their houses. Like this, General Secretary, along with Brigadier General Tenasole, with about 130 soldiers, ventured out to go to China, which is at a distance of at least 800 kilometers from the Naga country to reach China border. People had never traveled without knowing the route, but they just ventured out, especially facing all the dangers from our own Naga people who were not civilized. They were totally in darkness, completely naked, and fond of head hunting. Somehow they managed to reach China in '67 with great difficulty. When they appeared at the boundary, at the frontier of China, they were helped in a snowy mountain area, but they had to bear the hardships. Somehow, our autokilancer managed to convince the Chinese people, and the Chinese people are very fond of him. They have complete understanding about his integrity, about his vision, and about his knowledge of the world situations. General Tenasole and his group returned after, at the end of the 1967, but he stayed back in China. He returned only in 1972 with about a dozen of Naga army men. But still, he had confidence in his own way of understanding of the people, of the topography, geography of the Naga areas. When he reached Eastern Dangul area, they were about to arrive at one village called Herangut. The night before, he said he had a very bad dream. He saw a devastating landslide. But as he looked up to heaven and said a prayer to God to save him, he saw the landslide disappearing very fast. So he woke up, and that whole day he had no peace of mind. The very spot where they were ambushed by the Burmese army, he just shouted. He just shouted without any feeling, that he just shouted, "Position!" And instantly the Burmese fired upon them with hails of bullets, and 2 in front, 1 in the back, were instantly killed. But he escaped without a scratch. He suffered, but God saved him from that dangerous situation in a very miraculous manner. In '73, he appeared in the Tangkhul area, and immediately he started organizing the national workers. Tangkhul national workers were fear-ridden, and many of them had given up, raising their hands to the enemy. Only about hardly 30 of them were still struggling. Along with our General Secretary, as if he was in the place of Jesus Christ as a Savior, the people developed unshakable confidence in him. And they started praying with him, fasting many, many days. Yes, even without deciding to fast and pray, national workers, when I came in 73 May, I also saw that our elders, they used to say, let us fast tomorrow and pray, because we have exhausted our rice. There is no more ration. That way, Naga Tangkhul public were so much against the national movement that our national workers could not overcome these challenges. But in 73, when the Holy Spirit came upon them and promised them that they should not fear anymore, because they have been chosen, they have been blessed, and they got the promise that God would never leave them alone. The song was rightly presented today by Inoli Ivali. I'm so happy, I'm so glad. Thank you. That song itself was the promise of God that he would not forsake the Tangkhuls, and he would not forsake the Nagas. In 74, our Avakar, so in a trance one fine morning, he saw Jesus standing in front of him. But before this, in that trance, he was seeing thousands of Indian soldiers swarming every nook and corner, and he was so scared. And he shouted, "Oh God, save us." Instantly, Jesus appeared to him, and he asked Jesus to save them. In no time, those enemy soldiers just fell on the ground, fell to the ground. So he said, Jesus has done this. He has shown his mighty hand. He has told the Tangkhul national workers to mark that place and set up a place of worship there itself. Then the government decided to send out a goodwill mission abroad. Ali command had to be organized, and the goodwill mission was to be led by General Secretary Mr. TH Muivah. He refused to go. He didn't want to go because he said, in my absence, in the 60s, when I was abroad, government at home was broken. I think it is not good for me to leave home, because these days even the Vice President is now in sick bed, is too old to walk. And if I leave again, there will be none at home. The President is away in London. The Vice President is lying in his deathbed. And if I go away and something happened in absence, I will be held responsible. All the leaders back him. Unless you leave, unless you go, it will be impossible to convince the Chinese authority. So please, you must lead the goodwill mission and try your best to reach London also, to prevail upon President Fizo. Because President Fizo staying away for so many years and hundreds of thousands of miles apart from home, the way he gives direction, the way he make a plan are found to be unwarranted. So we are at odds. You must therefore go to London and make him understand and place him at a place where he can be always in touch with the people. But our leader was not fully convinced to leave home without doing something. So they decided to call a National Assembly. In that kind of situation, in 1974, where there was mopping up operations everywhere, where there was combing operations conducted by the Indian Army, every nook and cranny of the Naga country, to call the National Assembly, I saw the number of people gathered at UN Seti. This is between Economy, Tophima on the southwest and Lazami on the northwest. At that confluence of Dapu River along with a stream coming down from this Chetepa, we had a camp. There was a big crowd to sit at the National Assembly. That way, the assembly was held and reaffirmed the national stand. The resolution was, Nagas will fight to the finish till our sovereign independence is regained. After that, confidently, General Secretary decided to go away. He called some of the trusted army generals to stand fast because time was against us. The situation was developing very, very dangerously. So he cautioned the army generals to stand fast to the resolution of the assembly. At that moment, when we were about to start to set out our journey, Holy Spirit came and spoke to write a letter to Mrs. Indira Kanti. Mrs. Kanti was warned through that letter. Let the Naga people go free. I have seen enough sufferings of the Naga people. I was told by our chairman that the letter must have been taken by the then chairman of the Kohima town, who was a very close person of this Mr. Iseto Metom Keho. Now, we set out half-staffed from UN Seti. The day we set out, Yes, we reached Lazami camp, but the next day, after 1 day rest there at the camp, the next day when we set out from there, we were ambushed at the Chesolumi, Mislimi route, and we were scattered there again. So we were completely stuffed out. We did not carry ration because ration was not possible from Lazami area. After starving many days, we reached Natsumi. I never forget that village, the heart of that village, the spirit of that villagers. So good, I was really carried away. They feasted us with pork, and they even provided rations to carry. From there, we tried to cross Wokha area, but we were held up here and there because we were not able to cross. After much struggle, we crossed and tried to cross Toyang. In the month of September, trying to cross Doyang was impossible. But still, Naga Army man volunteered. But the current was too strong. They were all carried away. After much struggle, God opened the way for us. The Indian army who were guarding the breaches, I don't know for what reason, they vacated for some hours. And there only we crossed the breach and somehow managed to reach Longkham. At Longkham, we were treated very well. Then we proceeded via Mangmatung, Makali, and like that we crossed the Kohip Makokchung Amkuri road and skirted Mapongchukit village, crossed Dikhu, and then entered Chang area. While we were passing through the paddy fields of Lungra village, we were ambushed by the Vichi, and some of our cadres were killed, some of our people were scattered and caught. Still we managed. We had no food at all, but still we continued with our journey. At one point of time, before reaching that Yachim Phom village, we had a worship service where I was asked to speak by the chaplain, head chaplain, Lieutenant that time, Kefalhu. He asked me to speak. So I had nothing to speak. I said, today my stomach is empty, so my stomach is only crying for kuchu only. Not even rice. We did not expect rice. We wanted only kuchu, and we were worshipping in our hearts only kuchu. No Christ. I said, today we have forgotten Naglim for Christ also. Today we have forgotten Naga freedom. Today we have forgotten about our journey to China also. We are only thinking of kuchu, because after all, empty stomach, empty stomach, we are starved. I wish I called Jesus was there to provide us food, as he had provided miraculously with 5 loaves and 2 fish to 5,000 people. Like this we went. Then we managed to cross Chenvatnu. After much struggle, we had to jump into the Yongmun River. because we were being chased by the Gurkha regiment. And many of our people were killed and captured. Somehow we managed to escape, and to cross Yongmun became impossible. Captain Longmei, who was leading us, he said, even in the month of January, February, it is difficult to cross this river. How can we think of crossing this river? When the river is flowing full brim, but there was no way out. Enemy was chasing us from the back. So we decided to jump into that flooding river. Somehow, miraculously, God saved us. Our leader must have had the instinct, must have had some sort of inspiration from above, that unless we got into the river, there was no way out. So when the commander was ordered to jump into the river first, he did, and he crossed the river. That's how we reached Konyak area. After much struggle on empty stomach, we reached Chen Vet New, Pettyfield, Chumfield. We were held up there in the Chumfield for 4 or 5 days because the border was sealed. We were warned by the Holy Spirit, don't move, don't move. Then after 4 or 5 days, we were told to go. When we reached the border area, we saw a lot of fireplaces. It was almost winter, 14, 15 November. So it was cold enough. The soldiers, Indian soldiers, must have remained there in the jungle for many days. When we reached there, even we saw cigarette butts with fire. Half smoked and thrown away cigarette butts were seen. Somehow we crossed and then reached the peak of Veta. That Veta peak, it always remained in my heart. There, standing on the peak of Veta, Ato Kilonsar opened his rucksack, took out 4 or 5 packets of glucose powder, and told the officers to distribute. Each and every one. I don't know how many got a spoonful of that powder, but when after that glucose, he delivered a speech, a challenging speech. It never have gone away from my mind. He said, "Look, my dear brothers and sisters, look to the south, look to the north, look to the east, look to the west. We can see the beautiful land given to us by God. God has given this beautiful land to us, Nagas. Now, what will you do for God? With this gift, what will you do for the glory of God?" God has given this part of the world to you. Which else can be more precious than this? For this land, even if we die, we must die. For this land, if we live, we live it. We will live it for its glory. That short, inspirational speech always remain Very quick. With much struggle, we reached Kachin state in just before Christmas. But there we were held up by the Kachins because their mind had already been poisoned by the Indian intelligence. We were held up and they raised many silly questions. But our leader, General Secretary, he diplomatically convinced them. And after detention of more than 5 months, we reached China. In the month of May, it was already 1975. We started from 6th of September from UN City, reached China in the month of May. So how many months we had taken to reach China there? We were there in China till this first week of December. First week of December. But before our departure from China, on 13th of November, we heard a shocking news that Naga National leaders had signed the Shillong Accord. General Secretary, as the leader of the mission, called all the Naga Army officials immediately, and we discussed about the details of the Shillong Accord. And it was promptly condemned. We issued a statement there, and then itself. Like this, we had a tough time with the Chinese authorities to convince them also. But somehow we convinced them and we told them we will go back and we will organize our people. And we will come back again to you. That was our word to them. But when we were there in this eastern Nagaland, we started fighting with the Burmese army. Well, this Burmese army were also trying to attack us. Our General Secretary decided to go to Lahe, Burmese army headquarters, and attack it. He thought that that was the only way to divert their attention from attacking our headquarters. Army commanders agreed to go and attack Tatlang. It is called Lahe. They decided to go and attack at his behest. But he said he himself must also join the operation. Because Naga soldiers' life is not leaves. Pata na hoy. Pata na hoy. Naga soldiers can kiri dhaga to pata na hoy. I must go. I must. Let me also test that. It's okay. I'll fight. Nobody was able to convince him. They tried in vain. He went there when the post was about to be overrun. He was badly injured. He got 39 wounds. Just imagine. He got 39 wounds. 3 or 4 of his teeth were knocked out. His jawbone was broken. One hit on the knee, one hit at the back of the ankle, and then the entire side of his body was also full of shrapnels. He could be saved only because of God's healing hand. Otherwise, he would have gone there. He would have gone away from us. there and then itself. Being a chosen and anointed person, God has never ignored him. God has always taken good care of him. And that is why, in no time, he got up again and he wanted to walk to reach council headquarters, which was 6-7 days away from the council headquarters. We wanted to carry him, he did not allow him to be carried. He just walked, screeching his teeth, grinding his teeth, no? He just walked and reached in 6 days. See, unless God had provided the strength, unless God has provided the spirit of determination of this kind, he would not have made it through. God is so good. Immediately, National Assembly was organized at Sipao on 16th of August. And there, Shillong God was condemned, as well as the federal government of Chashihuri, which laid down weapons, was also condemned. And a resolution was also adopted to call upon President Azad Fizo to immediately condemn. Our call, frantic call in China, from China, was not paid any heed by President Azad Fizo. We really felt very, very hurt. But when we came together at Supao in Kamungan area in eastern Nagaland, President Fizo was elected, re-elected as the undisputed leader, president of the NNC. He was also crowned with another crown. Double crowns were heaped on his hat. He was also elected as the president of the federal government. But our people were hell-bent to listen to the signatories of the Shillong Accord. This is how, again, another military coup took place in 1978, 30th of August. Since then, he was imprisoned, he was kept under detention along with our late chairman Isak Chishisu for 1 year and almost 6 months, only 5 days short of 6 months. This is how our leaders were treated. They were also expelled for good, for life, from the National Service on ground of concocted, cooked up charges. But God's hand was working through SS Kaplang that time. SS Kaplang declared that, no, I cannot accept that kind of expulsion, the judgment order of the martial law, because they are elected by the National Assembly. They are responsible to the people only. Martial law cannot expel them from National Service. I will leave it to the Naga people to decide. So that way, they were somehow saved for some time. Like this, we were compelled to form this NACN because the NNC, which was formed by the Naga people, for the Naga people, and of the Naga people, has turned against the Naga people, fighting for the liberation of the country. They said, there is nothing wrong with the Shillong Accord. There is nothing wrong with the Shillong Accord. Nothing wrong with the Shillong Accord. Nothing wrong to accept the Indian Constitution without any condition. After thousands of our people have laid down their lives, how could one talk like this? How could one think in this manner? So, we are very thankful to our Otto Kilon, our General Secretary, and also our Chairman, late Isak Chishisu, who stood like rock. They say nothing to him. We will fight to the finish. Life is in the hand of God. We must stand. So, like that, we fought after the formation of the NACN. Yes, God's blessing poured down upon the Naga people. There was revival, spiritual revival within the among the cadres as well as among the people. Common people, villagers, thousands of people were converting, calling for providing baptism to them. This way, Naga soldiers were also fired with this nationalism, with the spirit of sacrifice. And everywhere, every battlefield, Naga army soldiers were defeating the Indian army as well as the Burmese army. I have taken so much time, but I will try to skip some points. When God was doing miraculous works, miracles for the Naga people, Satan was also jealously following the Nagas and setting traps here and there. So when things were going full swing with full steam, Mr. Kaplang started cooking something in his own camp. He stayed away from the council headquarters and he started talking that Isaac and Muivah were planning to surrender to the government of India on the basis of Mr. R. Srisa's proposal. Yes, the government of India did send a proposal in that manner, but that was never accepted as the agenda to be discussed. If at all there was a meeting between the government of India and the NACN's representative. But since he had already predetermined everything, set out the strategies, he started attacking. And the Burmese soldiers, they immediately joined hand. Like this, more than 280 of our veterans were massacred, including even women and children. But God had not given up the cause of the Naga people, the case of the Naga people. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise. We left the eastern theater, eastern Nagaland to Kaplang. We came over into the west. Government of India must have thought that we are landing up in their net. So it would be a matter of a few months to finish us. But it was otherwise, completely otherwise. Our two leaders, they went out abroad after the National Assembly at Wowoto, Jordan Camp. Jordan Camp, on 7th of November 1989, they went out They went abroad and they started campaigning for the cause of the Naga people. The Naga case was internationalized by them, taking it to Europe, taking it to America, taking it to South Africa, Asia, almost every country, even Russia. And suddenly, again, when ceasefire had already been signed, the government of India committed a very nasty thing by instigating the Thai authorities to arrest Mr. Muivah and Mr. Isaac. Unfortunately, our Honorable Atem sir was arrested at Thailand, in Bangkok, Thailand, imprisoned for more than 9 months. But it also turned out to be a blessing in disguise. They might have thought that when Muivah was being taken out with hardened criminals, all with fetters, no? With the dirty dresses, prison uniform, half pant shorts, and this vest, short sleeve vest, loose. Whenever they were taken out to the court, they were paraded in that manner. No? It was the most shocking sight for me to see. I had not gone to Thailand to meet them during that period, but the way it was seen in the video, it really hurt. It really hurt to the core of my heart. My leader, one of the most venerated person, is being treated like a mere criminal, being paraded. But because of this humiliation, Americans came, Europeans also came, people from South Africa, people from India, Indians themselves also came to hear the case of the Naga, leaders case, leaders who were in prison. And later on, the magistrate, he said, this is not a case to be heard in the judicial court. The government must decide this case. It is out of the bounds of the law of the land. So that way, he was released unconditionally. He was released unconditionally. That had strengthened the Nagas. Nagas used to flock after his release. Nagas flocked to Bangkok to see the leaders for consultation with them. This way, our leaders who had been anointed, who had been chosen for the for the cause of the Naga people, had been blessed and had been preserved, sustained, and helped. We must always pray for the health of our leaders. He is now, as today, he has reached 90 now. We must continue to pray for him that he should remain in good health and live long till Indo-Naga problem is resolved honorably and amicably. Thank you, Awakar. Because of your leadership, Naga people have been now respected everywhere, with a sense of fear also, especially among the adversaries. They have fear because of you. The way you have fought with the Indian government to recognize the unique history of the Nagas and the unique political position of the Nagas. This is really amazing. This is really mesmerizing for the Naga people. We will always continue to uphold your leadership. We will always continue to pray for you, and we wish that God bless you with good health and long life. Kuknalim.